Good morning. Day 52 of hiking the Appalachian Trail in 100 days. Today we are doing the 4-state challenge, and the challenge is simple: to hike in 4 states in 1 day. So I started out in Pennsylvania here. I woke up at 2:30 a.m. and just got on the trail a few minutes ago at 3:20, and I was camped about a half mile from the Maryland border. So pretty soon I'll be entering into Maryland. That'll be state number 2 for the day. And then Maryland is about 40 miles, so that'll be the majority of the day. And then I'll enter into state number 3, which is West Virginia. And I'll be in West Virginia for just a few miles, I think like 2 or 3 miles. And then enter into state number 4, which is Virginia. The headlamp is working well so far, except for the fact that it attracts bugs. And I just swallowed a little bug. So the total challenge is about 45 miles. I'm hoping to be in the range of 15 to 18 hours. We'll see how it goes. I heard the first 10, 15 miles heading SOBO are the hardest, and then it gets easier. So excited for this challenge today. Should be reaching the Mason-Dixon line and crossing into Maryland any minute now. I don't know if there's an official sign, or I'm definitely hoping there is. All right, here it is. Mason-Dixon line, Maryland, Pennsylvania. So I am leaving Pennsylvania now on the AT and crossing into Maryland and on to the second state of the 4-state challenge. And I'll be here the majority of the day. So just gonna keep on grinding, and I'll check back in later. A little bit after 6 a.m. now. So been hiking just under 3 hours. Has been getting light now, so I turned the headlamp off a few minutes ago and put it away. So the night hiking was not too bad. That's the first time I've really hiked in the night, in the dark like that before. The first week or two, I did have a few times where I started early enough in the morning that it was still pretty dark, and I hiked maybe 10 minutes with the headlamp or something like that, but that's about it. So night hiking wasn't too bad, but the section I was on was actually quite rocky for a while, and so it was more difficult than it would have been in the daylight to see exactly where the trail is, because it's a lot harder to just follow the trail based on the rocks. You kind of have to follow the blazes a little bit. But moving decently well so far. My buddy Bogballs did the 4-state challenge 2 days ago, and he was texting me about it. He basically said the first 10 miles is a little harder. It's rocky and kind of like PA some, and so far that's true. I'm not all the way through the first 10 miles, but it has been rockier in contrast to what he heard, and similarly what I heard, that Maryland was pretty smooth terrain. So still definitely moving faster than 2.5 miles per hour, and hopefully we can get that up to 3 once the terrain smooths out in a little bit, hopefully. So I'm about 15 miles in so far, about 1/3 of the way there. It's not yet 9 o'clock, and I made the 15 miles in about 5 hours, 10 minutes of hiking, so my kind of timeline for how long it would take estimate was somewhere in the range of like 15 to 17 hours probably of actual hiking, and my kind of stretch goal is around that 15-hour mark, which is about 3 miles per hour. So right now I'm a little bit behind that stretch goal, but still on pace for sure to be under 16 hours. And like I said before, the first 10 or 15 miles, from what I've heard, is more difficult in terms of terrain. And the last, I think that is holding to be true, because the last few miles things have started to smooth out more, it seems like. So we'll see how we get along in the next few hours. I was planning to go to the 7.5 hour mark before taking a break, and if my watch battery makes it, I'll probably be closer to the 8-hour mark, because there's a nice park that I should get to around the 8-hour mark, maybe a little bit before, hopefully a little bit before. So I'm gonna stop there for my break as long as my watch battery makes it there. There are definitely smoother sections, but the rocks are not completely gone, and definitely slow me down a little bit here and there. Crossing over Interstate 70 right now, which I think is pretty cool, just because 70 goes straight through the middle of Ohio. So sort of makes me feel some connection to home, even though it's been quite a while since I've been there. And putting in some good miles today, getting close to the 20-mile mark actually. So I just passed through Washington State Park, and at this point I have less than 19 miles to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and then it's just a handful of miles, definitely less than 5 miles from there to Virginia. So it's going pretty well. It's only 11:30. Hoping to make it to Harper's Ferry, I think, by about 6 p.m. That'd be awesome. I stopped in Washington State Park at some picnic tables for my break, ate some snacks, and recharged my watch, and they had a spigot there, so I was able to fill up my water. So it's going pretty well. Only 11:30, and we'll probably try to get some food in Harper's Ferry. There's a bunch of restaurants pretty close to the trail, so that's the goal at this point. Wow, an actual view here out over somewhere. After the Washington State Park, I had a decent amount of climbing for a while actually, and I think I'm generally headed down now, and don't have any big climbs left today, but we'll have some ups and downs. It's just after 1 o'clock, and I'm a little bit should be actually right around 28 miles now, so still feeling good, and should be able to make it to Harper's Ferry still by 6 o'clock, I think. Just a bit before 2:30 now. Doing pretty well still. Passed the 10-hour mark a little bit ago, and at that 10-hour mark, I was at 30.5 miles for the day. So 3 mile per hour average. Super happy with that. And the goal is just to keep that going the rest of the day. I did pass a SOBO section hiker and was talking to him for a few minutes, and he was saying, whoa, the next shelter in Virginia past Harper's Ferry is just like 6 miles from Harper's Ferry, and I knew the place I'm planning to stop tonight in Virginia is about 3 miles past Harper's Ferry. So for a few minutes I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just go a few miles further and stay at the shelter. That way I have access to a privy and bear cables probably, and maybe water, because I'm probably gonna have to lug a bunch of water the last few miles up the hill out of town today. But then I looked on the map and it was like 10 miles away from Harper's Ferry, so it'll be like an extra 7 miles, 6 or 7 miles past where I was planning to stay tonight. So not gonna do that, definitely not gonna do that. Just past the 12-hour mark of hiking, just after 4 p.m. And I'm at 37.3 miles for the day. So technically bumped up to 3.1 miles per hour and starting the descent, or a good way down the descent here into Harper's Ferry. So less than 4 miles out from Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, which will be a little bit over 41 miles for the day when I get there. And then I have a few miles after that. But really excited now because just placed an order for pickup for a pizza, barbecue chicken, and really looking forward to that one. So yeah, just gonna keep going these last few miles. Got some more downhill, and then I think the last few miles or two are pretty much flat along a towpath along the Potomac River. Crossing the Potomac River here and heading into Harper's Ferry, which is very exciting. Going to be crossing out of Maryland and entering into West Virginia. Made it across the river into West Virginia, the third state of the day on the 4-state challenge. So that's pretty exciting. Only a few miles left for the day, less than 5 for sure. And but first, gonna stop off here for some pizza. So got my pizza. It was delicious and wasn't really super full after it, so decided to get some ice cream. They had the same banana pudding flavor that I got at the half-gallon challenge, so I got that one and really enjoyed it. So just walking through Harper's Ferry. Not entirely sure where the trail goes. Maybe it goes up there. Not positive. Have to look at the map now. Alright, looks like I found the trail now. Going uphill. It's definitely going to be difficult. Done over 41 miles already today. And just added like 5 pounds of water because campsite, or I mean the place I'm going to camp isn't even really a campsite, so definitely isn't any water near, so have to carry my water in the last 3 miles or so of the hike. Jefferson Rock, views of the church there and Shenandoah River, pretty cool. So made it to the ATC Visitor Center. It's about a 1/4 mile off the trail, but figured I'd come, and I knew it wasn't going to be open, but figured I would just come here and take the picture, because typically a picture in front of this sign is kind of monumental or iconic, so gonna do that. Crossing the Shenandoah River now here. Pretty neat looking river with all those rocks out there. And then we just gotta climb up that hill and walk along the ridgeline a little bit to the camp. That really is a neat looking river. I think that's pretty cool. Made it the majority of the way up the hill here, and I think most of the uphill is fairly gradual now, and we should be at the Virginia border within about a mile. This won't be technically the end of West Virginia, because for the next few miles, I don't know, I think less than 10, the AT kind of meanders right along the West Virginia and Virginia border. Maybe goes back and forth a little bit, but the 4-state challenge is basically about hiking in 4 states in one day. Obviously you can't complete 4 states in one day or anything like that. So in West Virginia now, the 3rd state, like we've said, and West Virginia is the 10th state for me on the AT. So that's exciting. And Virginia will be the 11th. There's 14 total. So actually through most of the states now, but still a lot of miles to go. Virginia is the longest miles of trail on the AT. So we'll be in Virginia for a while, and then have Tennessee, North Carolina, and Georgia after that. All right, looks like this is the border of West Virginia and Virginia. So this is the 4th state of the day, and the 4-state challenge is completed in less than 15 hiking hours and about 16 total hours in the tent for the night. And it's about 9 o'clock now, which is later than I normally go to bed. Had pretty much everything done by about 8:30, but I still had to write the journal for the day, and that took a while because there was a lot that happened. But overall, I really enjoyed the day. I really enjoyed the 4-state challenge. It was a good challenge, and I'm really glad I did it. So I started at 3:20 a.m. Like I said, and I finished right at 7:20 p.m. So that's a total of 16 hours basically. But I wasn't hiking that whole time. Basically the hiking time was about 14 and a half hours, and total miles was 44.7. So that's just a little bit over 3 miles per hour, which I'm super duper happy with. So the 4 states I was in, I started in Pennsylvania, went into Maryland. Maryland was the biggest chunk, about 40 or 41 miles, I think. And then West Virginia, and then Virginia at the very end. Just barely into Virginia now. So definitely pretty tired now. My eyes were definitely wanting to go to bed when I was writing the journal, and was pretty slow, you know, doing stuff around camp tonight, like setting up the tent and cooking dinner and stuff. But that's totally fine. Probably gonna get a later start tomorrow, which is again totally fine. Tomorrow's a bit of a shorter day, so hopefully it's not too bad. Definitely looking forward to sleeping tonight and getting some rest for the body. But overall, I'm really glad I did the challenge. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, and yeah, hopefully tomorrow is just as good as today was. One more thing, I think I did say that total miles was 44.7, but I forgot to say that I ended at mile 1174.0.